Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ilyas from the Department of Education, Hazara University, Mansehra. In some of my previous presentations, I discussed the concept of reflection or reflective practice in the context of teacher education. In the current presentation, I would like to share with you some of the tools that student teachers or generally practitioners can use in terms of the development of reflective practice in general, and especially reflective practice in teacher education. So let's see some of those tools and strategies. Well, a variety of practices and strategies have been associated with reflection in the context of teacher education, and these actually include in terms of the strategies, these include basing the whole teacher education programs, particular teacher education programs, on the concept of reflection or reflective practice, and or devoting specific courses and components to develop beginning teachers as reflective practitioners. And besides this, there are certain strategies that are associated with the development of reflective practice in educational programs, especially in teacher education programs. These strategies include action research projects. So action research has been consistently identified as one of the strategies which is quite helpful in the development of teachers, and especially beginning teachers or trainee teachers as reflective practitioners. Similarly, another very interesting and useful strategy for developing a reflective practice or reflection among student teachers is giving them case studies and ethnographic studies. So in case studies, they are given particular cases to study in their classroom context or in the school context, and similar is the case with smaller level ethnographic studies that help in the development of reflective practice. Then micro teaching, which is a kind of supervised teaching, and it helps in the teaching practice in general as well. So micro teaching is also a strategy that has been identified with the development of reflective practice. Similarly, other supervised practicum experiences. Supervised practicum experiences actually mean student teachers or junior teachers practicing teaching, classroom teaching, and under the supervision of seniors and actually teacher educators or senior experienced teachers. That is a strategy that helps a lot in the development of reflective practice. And then structured curriculum tasks. So there are certain tasks that are included in the curriculum and that are aimed at developing junior teachers or student teachers as reflective practitioners. And inside these strategies, there are certain practices that have been associated with the concept of reflective practice that actually helps in developing student teachers and teachers in general as reflective practitioners. And so there is a broader kind of array of practices that have been associated with the development of reflective practice. And so these practices include journal writing. Journal writing actually is a kind of diary writing where the teachers write, the junior teachers, trainee teachers, or teachers in general write their diaries or journals. And so they write their experiences, write about and think about their experiences and reflection in the form of diaries or journals. And similarly, narratives and biographies also help teachers and student teachers narrating their own stories and also their biographies as developing teachers. So when they are writing, they are going through the process of writing, and so they are reflecting about their previous experiences or their current experiences. And so narrative and biographies are associated with the development of reflection or reflective practice among teachers. Similarly, reflective essays also on issues related to teaching and learning, on issues related to the daily routines of teachers and the issues that they face or their good and bad experiences, or to generally reflective essays on educational concepts. Then the use of metaphors of teaching. So the teacher actually making use, the junior teacher or uh, the the trainee teachers use of metaphors of teaching, which actually is looking at themselves or at their students or the process of teaching in in the language of metaphors. So let's say a teacher in terms of uh, someone who feeds versus someone who trains versus someone who leads the students. And so the different use of metaphors actually will take the teacher beyond just going into the class and teaching, and actually thinking about himself or herself or their role in a more metaphorical, in a more creative sense. And so that's why the use of metaphors is also recognized as a very useful practice for developing of the reflective thinking or reflective practices. Then the development of portfolios and e-portfolios also helps in developing the reflective thinking of the teachers. So portfolios actually consist of various activities, which are written activities and kind of oral activities, and so they're written um, uh, assignments, and so a number of other things that teachers do, that young teachers or junior teachers or trainee teachers do in a creative way. This portfolio have now turned into kind of e-portfolio because of the use of information technology over there. Similarly, blogs, writing blogs about teachers' experiences. So teachers' daily experience, in many cases, similar situations or different situations. And so when they come back and they write short blogs actually on their experiences, that can also help in the development of their reflective practice and the development of reflection and thinking on their teaching. And then group discussions and reflection. In many cases, teacher education actually happens in a group situation where there is a whole class of student teachers or prospective teachers who are working under the guidance of senior teachers in the school and in the university. So group discussions also help in help the development of reflective practice or reflection of the student teachers. Mentoring is also a process that helps in the process of developing the reflective practice of student teachers, because mentors actually are senior teachers who have more experience, and discussions with mentors, asking questions from mentors, or letting mentors ask questions and critically look at the practices or the practices and the views of the junior teachers also help in the development of reflective practices. Similarly, autobiographical narratives. This is also a form of narrative where these junior teachers or the trainee teachers write their autobiographies, especially related to their professional and academic experiences, their management of classrooms, their dealings with teachers, seniors, and students inside the classes or outside the classes. These narratives also help in uh, developing the reflection and the critical outlook in which these teachers look at their own practices. So, quite a few reflective practices are there. There might be other reflective practices as well that teachers can and or junior teachers can involve in. Um, Much of this content has been taken from my own PhD thesis, which I have given here in the reference, and you can find these other references inside this particular thesis. This thesis is basically on the concept of reflection as a teacher education concept, and this thesis very in a way comprehensively discusses the connotations or the different meanings of reflection and the implementation of reflection in the teacher education context. So if you are interested in knowing more about the concept of reflection, and if you want to go into details of other reflective practices, you can go and find out this particular thesis, which is available online at the University of Leicester website. And so you can read this in more detail about the different practices that are associated with the development of reflection among student teachers and among other junior practitioners. Thank you very much for your time. If you have questions, please don't shy away from asking those questions in the